Again, I'm Mark Belshe with F&F Construction. I'm a contractor, so most of what I tell you is going to be true. The presentation I'm going to go real quickly is the blending process, some issues to consider from my point of view as a contractor, and maybe offer some best construction practices. Okay, the blending process, that photo was taken in Nebraska, by the way, which has an active rubber program. I'll go kind of blow through this. Ann's pretty well covered this. The only thing I did want to say is some agencies will spec out the rubber content as a % of the asphalt, and some will spec it out as a % of the total. So you can see if you had 20% rubber, and you say, okay, what does that mean? I want 20% by weight of the asphalt, so it would be a 16.7% by total weight. If they said I wanted 20% by total, then that works out to 25% of the weight, or 20 pounds. So if I totally confuse you, chase me down the break, and I'll try to confuse you some more. The process I'm talking about here, there's no patents, any big secrets. If you want to learn more and more about how to field blend asphalt rubber, get a hold of RPA. They'll probably tell you everything except maybe some secrets on how to make money at it. I'll blow through this. Ann's already pretty well covered this, and if you're in the other one, you see it. Basically, the equipment is a virgin tank, a chrome rubber blender, and an asphalt rubber blend tank that's agitated. The asphalt feeds in, the rubber is metered in on a precise weight, gets blended up in the blender and put into the holding tank, which is agitated, and that's what feeds the hot plant. The product starts with raw chrome rubber from scrap tires primarily. There's also rubber sources from matte flashings and places like that. It's usually about like coffee grinds. It's delivered out on the project in typically in 2,000-pound bags that we can handle with high-reach forklifts. You should be able to have your supplier provide you with product that's well labeled and lot numbers and certified certificates, that type of thing. One issue is a lot of these bags are used bags, so don't freak out if you see some strange labels out on your job. These are just bags that have been used originally for something else and showed up on your job. This one, I think, had cocoa beans for Holland or something. I don't know. This is how we feed it. There's other ways people can do it. We use high-reach forklifts and then raise the bags over the way hopper. There you can see the rubber's been dropped into the hopper. And then the bags we normally just throw them away. It's not cost effective to try and recycle. We did try early on that, and it didn't work out at all. Okay, 5 minutes. We're doing good here. The rubber is actually on most of these systems are weighed out on load cells. You can see that circle there. There are other systems to do it. I think this one belongs to International Servicing, and they have a weigh trailer where it's augured back up. It's all the same idea, just a little different way of tackling the problem. Their advantage with their system is it's a lower thing, so you don't have to chase down a high-reach forklift. You can use more of a standard machine. This is just give you an idea what a full trailer would look like, a blend trailer when they're nice and clean and brand new. There's a control shack where the operator goes in, and this would be true of just about any machine. This happens to be ours. So, we use in Arizona the liquid asphalt's fed in at 350 degrees. I think in California they spec 375. So just a little difference of opinion between agency to agency. In Texas, I believe it's 350. I'm not sure. Again, the rubber's brought in is augured up into the high shear blender. That's the insert photo. You can see that's where actually the rubber and the asphalt come together. Typical production rates on a high shear blender can be 30, 40, maybe even 50 ton an hour. If you've got good hot asphalt, equipment's in good shape. The heat of the temperature of the virgin feed is really the controlling thing. Then it goes into these blend tanks. They're typical asphalt tanks. There's nothing extraordinary about them except they do have, normally would have extra coiling for better efficient heat, and then also agitation, either horizontal or vertical. Here you can see a flight auger. This would be a horizontal agitation tank. It's probably a little better way to look at it because you get agitation from wall to wall, but we have good success with the vertical agitators. I've been asked a lot of times, how much equipment do I need to bring in for a hot plant? So here you have a standard hot plant. A hot plant's going to have its own heat tank. Here's the same photo with the rubber plant brought in. You need an area to stage the rubber. You need a virgin tank to feed the rubber plant. You need the rubber blender itself, and then the blend tank that would feed the hot plant in lieu of the first tank that was there. You can see in this photo, if you look carefully, you can see the agitators on top of the one tank, and that's the giveaway for which one's the blend tank. There's other ways to do this. You can blend off-site, set up a nurse trailer, and then truck it back and forth. The issue is that the truck that runs back and forth has to have agitation because you have to keep this product agitated all the time. And went through, there are field tests. They're easy to do. You can do them on the back of a pickup. It's the viscosity testing. It's a no-go, no-go type of situation. And as in any hot plant operation, we are able to use a standard meter and pump package and interlock with the hot plant. As far as the paving, it's done conventional equipment, except you park your pneumatic roller. You don't put rubber, picks up rubber, so you don't ever use pneumatic roller on these rubber products. We do use windrow machines. Even a shuttle buggy can be used. Truth in advertising is that picture of a shuttle buggy is not paving rubber, but there's really no reason you couldn't. And again, you do not use a pneumatic roller steel wheel. The issue is not night or day. The issue is temperature. So if you have good warm temperatures at night, go for it. It's not a good product to rake. So if you're doing a lot of raking with this, like driveway cuts and that type of thing, you probably have the wrong product. You can rake the joints. You've got to be on it right away, or it stiffens up with you real fast. A few issues to consider. Obviously, if there's small projects and you got a fixed mobilization to bring this rubber blender into the hot plant, you're going to drive the per ton cost up. And the rubber plant will limit the production of the hot plant in most cases. If it's a 350 ton an hour plant, you're probably not going to get that with a rubber plant. There's a few myths that have kind of been dispelled. You do not need any specialized equipment other than the rubber blender itself and that equipment at the hot plant. The viscosity testing is getting much better, but this still doesn't have an ASTM designation, right? We're getting close, yeah. Blend design consistency, the lab work is done on a certain set of materials that are at certain temperatures that are done there, and that's not what you have in the field, so you could get a little variation. So what I'm getting at is you may have a blend design that says 18.5% rubber, and you may need to tweak that number out in the field, go to 19 or go down. But there's certainly set minimums and set parameters, and the viscosity test is kind of the proof in the oven. The nuclear oven is, I don't know if you've used them, there seems to be an issue that nobody's really pinned down that sometimes nuke tests seem to vary out in the field. It's all about heat management. These temperatures you're seeing here are what we use in Arizona. California is about 25 degrees hotter on the virgin feed, and I think on the binder temperature too. Yeah. And I would never take my aggregate temperature to 350. I think you'd have all sorts of emission issues you did that. Keep the breakdown up tight, and you need to set your crews up for success by putting them out there with good weather. Don't go out there when the weather's marginal. You're going to regret it. That comes from personal experience. Again, heat management, good experienced people involved, and a little bit of common sense always helps. If you're on the outer edge of where you should be on the weather, certainly tarping the loads, keeping the windrows, like Eric said, keep it no more than 2 or even less if the wind's blowing. Keep the rollers closed, look at the long-range forecast, and then your overnight temperatures after the day you pave sometimes can be a good factor of how the job's going to perform. Some of the things that the industry can bring nowadays, some of us are starting to move towards these infrared cameras. They're little handheld units. They're still very pricey, but we do find that they have an application out here. The one photo on the left, the difference there is the machine, the paver was going. They had a little malfunction. They backed the screed up and restarted, and you can see how dramatic the temperature difference is. As far as constructability, do not confuse constructability with performance. Do not confuse constructability with performance. What I'm saying is You need a good warm weather to do the paving and to do the construction. That does not mean that asphalt rubber will not perform well in cold climates. It does excellent once it's constructed properly, but you need that window. This is job, just to give you some idea of the variability of this product. This is Nebraska. I'm sorry, this is Tennessee. This is Nebraska. This is up at the, this is in the Sierra Madres up here in Sierra Nevadas, I'm sorry, going into Reno. This is in Arizona. So British Columbia has also done some work just last season, actually. So real quickly, one of the highlights, I think, is this OGFC or ARACFC. It's called several names, but it's an open graded over a PCCP slab. Asphalt rubber brings something to this that probably not any other product that I know can do it. This real thin lift, great rideability. Again, if you were in there yesterday, we were talking about these open graded quiet pavement projects. Again, this is urban freeways. The nice thing about asphalt rubber, it has carbon black in it, so it makes leaves the pavement darker for a longer time, so it makes really nice contrasting for striping. And then finally, there is the environmental card where you are taking a lot of tires, putting them to good use. So the summary is can be a construction-friendly product if you understand it. Don't get too far out the box. And it does provide a quiet and long-lasting, and it's an environmental winner. Sorry about it being so quick, but I was trying to get us on close. Yeah, not bad. So.
Didn't mean to squeeze you.
It's all right. Any questions real quick? Yes, sir.
Please wait for the microphone.
Here in California, we have the requirement for the high natural and the scrap tire rubber. How are those blended? Are those blended in separate bags before they go into the plant, or are they blended through the blender before they go?
The way it's done in the field that I've seen, and I'm pretty sure everybody does it this way, is typically the percentage is 75% scrap tire and 25% high nat. So we buy it in those percentages. We buy 3 truckloads of scrap tire and 1 truckload of high nat, keep them separately. And when we load that hopper, we dump 3 bags of the one and 1 bag of the other into the hopper. And then when it gets augured through, and the time it goes through the blender, it's pretty well all blended up. So
Okay.
there's individual certifications, obviously, for each product. So, yes, sir. One more.
As a contractor, do you actually engineer your rubber binder to react within a 45-minute time period?
Yes, yeah. I mean, what we do as a contractor, we will, once we know our sources of asphalt or sources of rubber, we take it to MacTech or one of our competitors, but mostly MacTech. And they put it together, and they will find that percent of rubber that's the most economical product to make that will come within those minimum specifications. So a lot of that temperature or the reaction time is driven by the heat of the temperature of the virgin asphalt. So if you're really wanting to blow and go out in the field and stay, right at the edge, making sure you have hot asphalt will help you with that.
I have a question up front.
Thanks. Yeah, my question is, as a contractor, if you were going to have a big, large Caltrans job on an interstate, and say there was stage construction that was involved, where the plant that you bring in might be down for, say, 6 months, would you, as a contractor, would you take that plant and take it elsewhere, or when you bid the job, would you include that downtime for that plant?
Now, which claim are we talking about?
Good pre-construction meeting, right?
Yeah, right. This equipment, you've got a large capitalization in it, and most people probably wouldn't approach parking something for 6 months, and hopefully they had enough work on their books they'd take it somewhere else. Is that kind of where you're headed with this? Or?
Yeah, I mean, is there demob and mob costs involved?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
You can spend anywhere, if it's fairly close, few miles, it's probably a minimum of $5,000 to $8,000 to move that rubber plant, and then just Katie bar the door for if you start going out of state and getting into weight issues. And I mean, I've spent $40,000-$50,000 on a mob going to Nebraska or someplace like that. Don't pay attention to that, Mark. That was Chalfa with Granite. Didn't want to get any numbers from me. So.
Okay, thank you. One last question here.
I was curious how much new construction you're seeing rather than just the overlay.
Not a lot, and I just, I know people are talking about that, but this is a premium product. You're paying an extra price for, probably $15, $18 a ton, maybe even more. And so you want to get the bang for the buck, and it's usually in the overlay market where it's either this or a full payment rehab, or this is the cost-effective way to go to pay that premium. But new construction, I think it can be a tough sell. I understand why you'd want to do it, but I just, a lot of times, I don't think the economics will ever get there. So.
Okay. I'd like to mention Eric did bring some copies of the inspection book that the RAC Tech had developed. So if you'd like a copy, they're up front in the box up here. So,
and I just want
One
to
other
say
comment?
that there'll be he's getting rid of his old stock, but it's still all really good information, and it still applies. In the future, you'll see this repackaged. It'll be pretty much the same information. It'll be updated as appropriate, but it doesn't contradict anything that you're going to see in this. This is good information, and if you see it in the future repackaged, don't be alarmed. This is still good information.